Welcome back to Killer Fun, where we explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week. I'm Christy, and today, I have outtakes for you. We are still on our summer hiatus, but we still have fresh, new, never-before-heard content here for you. So today, I have outtakes from The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window, The Thing About Pam, Pieces of Her, The Dropout, and The Staircase. So we're starting out with The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window. What a mouthful. Holy moly. Sometimes we laugh at nothing. Of course, there are flubs. Men don't appreciate their pockets. The fear of death and grieving. And Jackie talks about her relationship with her mother's memory. Jackie talks about how much she likes the Batman. Sometimes laughter is medicine. We are not plant moms. Everyone imagines driving their car off the road sometimes. Taking kids to work. Fabio cows. Looking at responsibility as empowerment. Private Instagrams and more.
I don't know. Just making funny faces at it. Okay. Okay. Cut that out.
I will. Of course
Sorry,
I will.
Help it. It was just really funny.
This show is concerned with trying to be something that it ends up being not. Let me start that over.
That is so funny.
Do
you know, complete aside, do you know I was at the door, the front door, okay, and my son was going to open it for me because I kind of had my hand full, and if you don't know, my other arm is a little right now.
Yeah.
So I had my one arm full and really couldn't do anything. He was going to open the door. What a kind human being. He's such a good son. Except there he is searching through his pockets to find his keys. And this comes out of his mouth, and it was not ironic. He was like, God, these pockets are so big. I can't find anything.
What I would give to have big pockets.
But I have trained him well. I looked at him and went, is that so? And he looked at me and he was like, I'm sorry, Mom, on behalf of all men. I'm sorry. He got it. He understood.
All men.
On behalf of all men.
Bless his
I can't
sweet
even say.
heart.
I mean, like, he kind of halfway ironically meant that, but also sincerely meant that, because he was like, I know it sucks to have no pockets. I'm sorry to complain about this in front of you, but literally I can't find my keys.
What I wouldn't give to not be able to find my keys in my pocket.
I know. But it was just a really funny moment. I digress. Let's go back to the review. I'm sorry. Yeah. Maybe a fear. People are afraid of death in like a righteous way, man.
Well, and they just want people to get over it.
Yeah. Hence the grief thing. Because people don't like the death. They're like, oh, we know this happens, but it like happens, like over there. And they don't want to laugh at it so up close.
Let me tell you, my parents cannot make their arrangements because they're terrified. They want to leave it all on me. They don't want to. They don't want to think about it.
Like my stepmom who passed away. I don't know how many years ago was that now.
Not that
long.
Like 3 years ago.
3 to 4 maybe ish ago, and she had created a folder. She was not afraid. She created a folder, and the title of the folder was When We Kick the Bucket.
Oh, bless her heart.
And there was like little comedic moments all throughout it.
Bless her heart.
And it was like, what a gift.
Yes.
I mean, she was being
For
funny
real.
because it was dark humor.
Yes.
But on the other hand, when she actually did kick the bucket, and my dad was really ill at the time, it was a whole thing, y'all. But I had to go to this folder. What a gift of laughter we had. Yeah. Like with all her little things and all her little notes. It was very funny. And it was such a relief.
Yeah. It's a gift you give to your heirs.
It's true.
It really is.
I'm going to tell you something about the Batman. That's not a spoiler, I promise.
Okay.
It was the best Batman movie I'd seen.
Really? Oh, good.
And I hate Batman. I'm using the word hate about Batman, and I'm fully aware of the connotation and its full meaning. I hate Batman.
Yeah.
This is the best Batman movie.
Okay.
And it's not just because it was Robert Pattinson, although it helps.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but it's still Batman. It's still Robert Pattinson in ears. Okay. So at the end of the day,
That's my favorite thing that you told your kids. Tell them what you told them. It's so good.
he has ears. He's a superhero, but he has ears. He went through all the trouble of making this costume and put ears on it. That should have been first clue. Choose better heroes. Okay, but this movie actually was really good, and I will tell you, I didn't even get up to go to the potty, and it was freaking forever long.
Yeah.
And it was actually, it really
kept you
it
entertained.
did. It kept me.
Oh, that's
Every moment I thought I might get up and go potty, I was like, oh, nope, there's something happening here. Mm-hmm. That is high praise. I'm going to tell you what. Yeah. Robert Pattinson, well done.
Yeah. Good.
Writers, well done.
Oh, good. Hall of Fame. There we
done.
go.
My
All right.
BBC.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. BBC. That's not like the quintessential British television show for Americans.
I know it is, but I
do
said
you need more drink?
I so do.
Okay.
I want to tell you, it feels so good to laugh.
Oh, good.
It's been stressful lately.
Yeah.
And it just feels so good to talk through this and feel
good.
Happy.
I'm very glad.
I'm very, very thankful for this because even though there's pain, to laugh and to move like I'm a normal human being for a second. No. So when it's been over a year or 2 years, we don't have a great name or a great acceptance for the way that we carry our loved ones. Where I do think Eastern cultures tend to have a better cultural acceptance and terminology for the way that we carry our previously departed loved ones with us.
Right.
We don't do a good job with that. Because you don't, my mom passed 10 years ago.
Right.
Yes, I am done grieving.
But that doesn't mean you don't still miss her. It doesn't mean you don't still care and carry that pain with you.
There you go.
And I mean, you grieve a lot of things. You can grieve the loss of a loved one. You can grieve a betrayal. You can grieve all kinds of things.
Yes.
But that doesn't, and you can be past the intense grief period, but still carry that with you.
Yeah. I'm done with that whole grieving as in the way that the stages of grief we kind of think of. I've gone through that. It's not that she's gone though. Right. She's dead. I love my mom. She's dead. She's still with me.
Right.
In my heart.
Well, and you're going to still go through those stages of grief over and over again in different ways and at different times.
You do. You kind of got to revisit it a little bit.
Right.
Or something happens and you don't grieve that they're gone in general, that you grieve that they missed something you want them to see.
Right.
Right? I find that I don't revisit the original grief, original grief. But what happens is I'm reminded of something and I'm all of a sudden it impacts me because of a very specific. So now I'm grieving something new.
Right.
I'm not revisiting old grief that I went through. I'm okay. My son is excelling in this way. Oh my gosh, my mom would have loved that for him. I'm grieving something brand new.
Right. And you kind of have to go through those stages of grief again.
Yes.
But you do it maybe more accelerated or less emotionally charged, but you still go through them.
You go through them. If you've grieved well, you kind of come out the other side. I find for me, and I'm sure that my narrative is different than many other people, but I wonder if the process might be, I don't know, similar somehow, relatable, is that I'll go through something myself or for my sons or something like that. And I'll go, oh my gosh, mom would have loved that. And then I have one of these little hallucinations, kind of I have a conversation with her, right? About it, inform her about it, kind of listen to her voice in my head about it. And then I cry. Because that's what you do. Why aren't you here? Then the stages of grief, like you said, I cry and then I'm kind of why weren't you here for this? And then I'm like, oh yeah, you're dead. Dark comedy moment.
Yeah.
Where my mom gives me a little, but I'm dead. Okay. All right. I get it.
I can't give you a hug and a kiss in this
Because
instance
I'm dead.
Because I'm dead.
And dinner is at 6 in heaven. You know, like a little funny. I can hear her.
like they're not going to feed you in heaven
because
if you
it's
miss
like
dinner.
a resort. It's like a cruise. That's what I imagine, right? Like I guess I kind of imagine heaven as like this perpetual cruise
that's open later.
Maybe so, but she wants to be at dinner at 6. Maybe there's somebody cute.
She got a new dress.
Maybe not. You don't know. So like we laugh.
Oh.
And then you clean up. Your face is swollen.
Right.
So you put some cold, right? Maybe a cucumber or two or whatever, and then you go about your business.
Aww.
The grief is different.
Yeah.
It's not the original grief.
Right. But it's still a grief that you have to go through and deal with. And
absolutely.
I think that we're not well equipped, particularly in the US, to continue this grief process and support it well.
No, we just don't know how to cheers to those who have departed first.
Well,
cheers to my mom, who would have had something a little different in this cup that I'm about to sip from.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to know how bad of a green thumb I have?
Oh,
this is a digression. Expect this on a bonus episode. All right, so in my yard, I have fake flowers. Right? Plastic flowers.
Yeah, you do.
In fact, I had a friend who stayed to watch our house and our animals over a large road trip that we did last summer.
Right.
And didn't know they were fake and went out there and tried to water them. Okay, but a couple of days ago, I went out there and they're wilted. My plastic flowers
which means it's time to replace them.
have wilted.
That's how bad your green thumb is.
That's how bad my green thumb
My
is.
parents gave me a plant for my birthday in December, and it's nearly dead. I cannot keep. It's supposed to be an easy care plant, and I have nearly killed this plant. I wish my parents would stop giving me plants.
I'll give you a silk plant, a nice silk plant for indoors.
Give me any
You know,
plants.
they make silk plants for outdoors that are like UV resistant, that
Really?
are like high end. Like
Sweet.
you would pay for them.
Really?
Right? Like pay money, but they would last you forever.
Really?
Because they're UV resistant and they're meant for outdoors. So like a bucket plant, something, you know, like in San Antonio, we really love our hanging from the
like
live oak.
bougainvilleas.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
These kinds of
I love
these type
the
of things.
bougainvillea.
Yeah, these types of things that they make. Me, I bought like plastic plants from IKEA. And I put them in the ground with rocks that I found that I dug up in my yard because, well, I bought an old house. And so
there's lots of rocks. Yeah.
and they were all white. Beautiful. So I put them all in one little area and then I put the little fake plants, but they're all wilted. I need new plastic plants. Ironically, or weirdly, I'm not really sure which one. There's some flower plant that I don't know the name of, but I love that the previous owners definitely planted because they were green thumbs. And it blooms every spring.
Sweet.
I can't kill it,
Excellent.
so I don't touch it.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it alone.
I don't go near it.
Yeah.
I'm like, let
Don't
the
try
rose
and nurture
grow.
it. Don't try and nurture it.
No,
Just let it go.
It's like a Keystone Rose over there. And if
oh.
you're a Stephen King fan, you understand what I'm talking about. It's like a Keystone Rose. Let it go. Let it be there.
I have roses that we have paid people to dig out of our backyard that keep growing.
Roses are remarkably.
I mean, for all that people are like, oh, you have to cultivate your roses. No, you don't. You just
Let them
ignore
grow.
them and they will grow in spite of you. They will grow.
I bet I could kill
just to give
it.
you a middle finger
I bet I could kill it.
if you just paid attention
Let
to
me
it.
at it. It's true.
Excellent.
I digress.
All right. Just like I've never imagined driving my car off the road.
Never.
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 Which is super common, by
It's
the way.
super common. Isn't that weird?
Everybody does it.
Everybody does.
My son confessed it to me while when he still had his learner's permit. He confessed, sometimes I think, would it be like if I just drove it right off the bridge? I'm like, everybody thinks that.
Everybody does that.
Really, like, he doesn't think about it very much anymore.
Oh,
because I told him it's super normal. Everybody does
I'm
this.
glad.
Yeah.
Because it is. It's super normal.
It is.
I take my kids to work all the time.
My
Let me rephrase that. I take my kids and put them to work every day. I'm kidding. I don't do that to them.
We both work from home. So, my kids are at work with us whenever they're home. So
I try really hard to not put my kids to work at work because it's so easy to do that.
Right.
So I really try not to do that because I want to protect their space, right? Like even my husband recently was like, you could just ask them. I know I could. But I don't want to make it.
You don't want to make it a chore. You don't want to make it expected. But at the same time, I can kind of appreciate it's expected of our kids to do some work for our work because that's part of contributing to the family. And that was the thing that happened for a long time.
They're much more used to it with me than they are with their father.
Well, this is true.
So dad should take the kids to work so that they could see
what he does,
which will delight one and bore the other.
That's super fair.
Cut out the silence.
Yeah.
Long haired. Wait. I don't type so well these days. All right. Long haired cow. Highland.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, she does great because her house is huge and gorgeous.
Yeah. It's like those pictures of cows.
Yeah.
I know that seems unrelated, but I promise it's related. There's a certain type of cow that has like a long hair.
A long-haired cow photo?
Or you'll
painting?
know it. Both. You'll know when I see it. What is it called? There's some dadgummit. It's the Highland cow. You'll notice it because it's all over freaking everywhere. That narrows it down.
I suck at the Instagram, so I don't know.
Oh, no. Like in Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Target. Wait. Highland cow art. Yes, I did mean that. Thank you, Google. These pictures of the Fabio cow.
Fabio cow.
These kind of pictures that are all. It's
oh no, I have seen one of those in Ross.
Yeah.
I think I saw one of those this afternoon when I was in Ross with the colors.
And so these are all in swanky urban apartments that want to look all rustic and cool. Look at the Fabio cow photo. It's a real cow. They just styled him. Yeah, see?
It's a real cow.
They
do look like a boy band version of cows.
I mean, look, and then you got some of them with their teeth showing. But some of them are see?
Yeah, but I don't want to see cows that cute because I like burgers.
I know, but cows are so sweet. Look,
I know. I don't want to know about it.
Boy, talk about I digress. The point being that, I don't even know what the point was. Why am I talking about
I don't know. But
said,
all that'll be bonus
art.
stuff. Yeah.
The art.
The art. Yeah.
The point I'm making. Yeah, it's interesting because the art could be anything. The commercial stuff is needed. If you think of Highland cows and okay, if you don't know what a Highland cow is, it's the Fabio cow that you find at Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's the big cow or Walmart or anywhere that's the big painting. And it's either in full watercolor or all black and white. Super cool.
The
very
boy band
loft
version of cows.
Yes. And commercial art though, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't discount it. It's still art to me.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Give a snippet for the actual episode.
I
don't know.
And then the rest of it will go in the bonus.
Yeah.
That's we got to have something to play while we go to Disney World.
So true. So true.
I mean, for real.
Okay. All right. I didn't do anything, but it is my responsibility, which means I'm empowered.
There you go.
I'm empowered to do something about it.
Okay.
Which means something that was an attack on me, I can go at. I don't know. There's a little piece of me that's like, yeah, let me put on my bat ears and go. Right? Like,
Bat ears.
they're so cute. I was thinking about like that last statement. You might have to edit a little bit of the whole, the Batman statement in order for that to be funny.
Oh, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, to put your bat ears on, like.
Yeah, I might tighten it up.
That was a callback.
I'll tighten it up a little bit.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, because that was a callback to like
Yes,
really
it
what
was.
was it? I digression. So
Okay. Well,
you might have to play around with that editing wise.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ooh, I'm a little concerned about
problem.
that. All right,
Don't worry about it.
Sorry.
If I've pulled out the callback, I'll pull it out and it'll be a callback within.
Okay, all right. Usually I try not to call back to something I know was going to be a digression.
Yeah, that's fine.
But that time I was like, ooh, I know that was bonus material.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
All right. Okay.
So they describe the creature. I'm drunk.
It's funny.
All right, so both Neil and Sexy Rexy have private Instagram profiles.
Yeah.
And there are pros and cons for both of those situations, according to follows.com. So the pros is that you can have control over who sees your content, less likely to be harassed. Becomes a lot harder for people to steal and repost your content. You can hide personal activity, like drinking if you're a college student. The cons are that it doesn't stop harassing direct messages, because you can still receive direct messages from people. And it doesn't hide your account activity on other accounts.
Yeah.
So if you comment on somebody else's public photo or whatever, then that's still available to be seen by somebody. And then there's a whole bunch of reasons that are more like businessy type sorts of things, that people don't have incentive to follow you. You won't show up in the hashtag feeds. You end up being effectively invisible. The content won't embed on your website. So these are more like a businessy sorts of things, less engagement, all of that sort of thing. So I think if you're going to post a bunch of pictures of your kids and that's all you're posting, maybe private's the way to go. But yeah, especially for like Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was posting pictures of his daughter.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Here are outtakes from the Thing About Pam. We talk about how the family will be fine if it takes us a little bit longer to record. But then later we also talk about how we better get a move on or the family might mutiny. I get some movies confused and more.
They'll be fine. Trust me. The family will be fine.
They will be fine.
They can forage for themselves if they really are get that hungry. It's not like there's a lack of food in this place. Let me tell you.
True.
So I'm just a boy standing in front of a girl. Is that it?
No,
that's not it.
What's his face?
Oh, that's the other one. Never mind.
That's
Cut that out.
Love
Christy.
Actually.
Oh, it is Love Actually.
Yeah.
I always get those confused. I feel like Renee Zellweger should have been in Love Actually.
She would have been good in Love Actually.
All right, Chrissy, cut all that out. So the show's approach to Pam's character is so shallow and broad that there's no way for Renelle. That was bad. I'm going to start over.
Other shows that are not dark comedy particularly, but other shows definitely take some artistic liberty with the characters to provide depth that probably isn't there, and we're probably used to it.
That's fair.
So then we get this dark comedy, which
Right.
is hard anyways. And then we get this character who is shallow, and we actually portray them as shallow. And I have to say, like, it's like a Tropic Thunder moment.
Right.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, FYI, I'm about to say something that is highly offensive. But if you've watched Tropic Thunder, there's this hilarious, there's this hilarious scene where one of the characters is talking about how they never get like any Oscar love, any Academy love. And it's because he did a film where he portrayed a mentally disabled individual with a learning disability, which is academically and medically called retardation.
Right.
Well, and one of the other characters says to him, "You never go full retard."
Oh, geez.
Because the thought is you can't handle that on the screen.
Right.
It's too much reality for a silver
general
screen.
audience.
And
Right.
so you always want to portray it a little bit more lightly. And so that was the whole conversation. And well, frankly, sometimes you can't go full shallow.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes you got to create some depth for people, something for people to love, because we don't want to see all of that on the silver screen.
Yeah. Well, because we don't want to not understand why her husband loved her.
Right.
We think there's got to be something redeeming, and maybe there's just not.
What if there's just not?
Maybe there just isn't. Better just keep going.
Yep.
Or else we're gonna go out there and they're gonna be like, "Are you done yet?" And we're gonna be like, "No."
No. So was.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Well, yeah. No. I'm good. I'm good. Let's go.
So Betsy Mesh. To be. You smack your head on it. There you
Every
go.
time I do that, I do that when I'm playing too. Like
Yeah.
I get it. I do that all the time.
All right, up next is our pieces of her outtakes. We spent a long time talking about The Man in the High Castle. I name drop the Revolution a little bit. We talk about how we wanted a few more laughs from this show. Jackie questions her oration skills, and we talk about familial configurations culturally. And then she was also in Man in the High Castle, which I loved the first season of, and then couldn't get into the second season. Is it like
films?
Huh?
The films.
The
They say that.
films. Oh, yeah.
The films.
The films.
The films.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I thought it was such a cool idea, and parts of it were interesting enough to keep me going, and then I kind of lost interest. I was like, I don't know what is happening. I don't like any of these people. So I can't remember if I saw Bella in that show or not, because I think she might have been in the second season that I abandoned.
I don't know. It's been so long.
I mean,
I just know I actually watched her a couple of seasons,
Okay.
at least two, maybe three. I think we fell off watching it probably mid third season.
oh,
where it was
long
like
you lasted that long.
Yeah, we were kind of interested with the whole concept of the multiverse situation.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, if you haven't watched that, because it doesn't come out right away.
Yeah.
But it's like we were like, oh, it's really going somewhere. And then it was just.
And then it kind of didn't. It's like they didn't expect to get picked up for another season.
It's almost like that. And then like so many scenes where the main character looking longingly into the sky and saying the films that we just we couldn't anymore. But nevertheless, it was a really cool show. Maybe
Right.
I'll revisit it one day.
Maybe it's better when you don't have to wait for episodes to come out.
Maybe it's better streaming. Like all at once streaming.
Right. Yeah. Like all at once. Because we'll see.
That's true.
Like, I just ended right there. That doesn't seem like the end of a sentence. That's right.
I do.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Oh, here's my total aside.
Total aside.
So we met the Revolution after a concert once.
Okay.
When we went in Austin, actually in San Antonio too, but in Austin was when Wendy Melvin of the Revolution of Wendy and Lisa, Wendy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We met her and we're having fun and joking around. She was like, oh, I like you. You guys are trouble. You're good trouble. I'm like, damn straight.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, so my little
That's
name drop
awesome.
of
That's awesome.
a famous person telling me I was
awesome.
fun.
I love it. That's an amazing moment.
Anyway.
I love that.
Oh, now my eyes are watery.
It's funny.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, Netflix pieces of hers. No. Not pieces of hers. They're not pieces that belong to her. Netflix pieces of her.
That's funny. Like, why do I care about this car so much? What does this do? I think it was because I had a laugh moment and she didn't. And then I was like,
You're like,
oh,
come on.
Yeah.
So just before she falls victim to the shooter, Shelley is enjoying being congratulated. I'm going to start that whole bit over.
Am I making sense? I don't
Yes.
think I'm making sense.
But
So I guess what I'm kind of saying, and I'm rambling.
that's fine.
I told my son, this is an aside. I told my son as I get older, I ramble more. And I'm trying to get on top of it, and I'm not doing a good job. But I digress.
That's what editing's for. So
yeah,
that's
at
fine.
the end, that is hard. It is hard. It's cultural
Right.
differences between, families that live together, like multiple generations in a home and are a little bit more cooperative, I suppose is the right word, about their caretaking responsibilities across generations.
Right.
Whereas, the culture that you and I are more used to is you grow up, you get out.
Right.
And you have your own area and
Right.
then
Right.
the empty nest goes and parties.
Right.
And, after we cry and whatever. And so, that's kind of how our culture thinks of it. And
Right.
so the multicultural view has to come into play too.
Right. For sure. Though I do have a friend who grew up in the same area that I did and everything. She's an only child and she lived at home because that's what made sense for their families.
Yeah.
And she lived there until she got married. And when she got divorced, she moved back in with her parents. And then they decided they needed more space because now she had a child as well. And they all went and planned a house and built it, and everybody works and it all works together. And it all
There's
makes
something
sense.
beautiful about that when it's something that well, how do I say this? I'm trying to avoid saying something ugly too. Hold on. When it meets your expectation.
Right.
Right.
Well, and these people, they had good relationships. They weren't taking care. I say that they weren't taking care of their daughter.
Right. They were taking care of each other.
It was a situation that just worked for everybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, you're still living at home with your parents. It wasn't even like that. It was just like, I live with my parents because that's what works for us.
Yeah.
And it was fine. They all had a really good relationship to start with.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I mean, your expectations of your that are within your relationship and your culture and your means.
Right.
I mean, if you don't all fit in one house, sometimes you got to divide and conquer.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes it makes sense better to pool all the resources in order to do something. But sometimes family living together, multi-generational, is a loafing situation and can become extremely unhealthy, especially for the youngest.
Right. All right. Next up are outtakes from The Dropout. We talk about the show Big Love. We talk more about being a girl boss and what that means. Jackie catches me in a flub that I didn't even catch for myself. We talk about green juice and life simplification and how talking to yourself in a mirror might not be the best way of practicing your conversational skills. So Amanda, I forgot she was one of the kids on Big Love and on HBO, which I really loved, about a polygamous Mormon family.
I didn't see that.
I loved it. It was so soapy and it was very fun. It was one husband and he had 3 wives and she was the daughter of the first wife, but they all lived in houses next door to one another.
Okay.
So that they could kind of hide their polygamy, but their backyards were all connected.
Oh.
So it was like they all had their own house, and the husband went from house to house, but their kids were like grew up together, and they all shared this one gigantic backyard, and it was very fun.
That's interesting. I have to look that up.
Oh, it was Bill Paxton. I think,
Really?
was the husband.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was
Well, he's
really
good.
Yeah.
I don't have a word for it, but almost like a Stockholm syndrome kind of thing, where if you are making it as a girl boss, this is how you make yourself feel better about it, and dissolve this desire that you have to fix it for the ones coming behind you.
Right.
And so it furthers that patriarchy and the meritocracy in ways that are really big, but the person itself, it is a lot to ask.
Yeah.
Just because you're smart and end up doing something really amazing, are you responsible for the system? That's a lot to ask too.
Right.
And so it's hard because there's some studies that show that mentorship is a big deal in business culture. And this is where women don't get mentored.
Right.
Right. But when women make it, they tend to not choose up and coming women as their proteges because they can't be responsible for this. Because if that protege makes it, it's because a woman was helping a woman, not merit. If they don't make it, the woman wasn't a good mentor to begin with. So the woman who made it is in a double bind the whole time.
Yeah.
And those who are looking for the particular help to say, you are a woman, tell me how you made it. If they make it, create a problem, because now it really is just like a form of gender nepotism. So the research shows that it's until the system changes, it's going to be very difficult. And that actually really holds true for racial. We're asking, say you're a black man who makes it to a high level in a company, and a younger black man wants to be mentored by you. And maybe it has nothing to do with the fact that you happen to both be black, but because you have similar personalities, and the person just says, you're the person for me. But that puts the black man who made it in the double bind also.
Right.
God forbid she be a black female.
Right.
That double bind is like a triple bind.
Yeah.
And so research is showing that we don't really know how to overcome this. And that's what Elizabeth Holmes is in. It's like she can't. And so we hold these people responsible. So girl boss makes it easy for them to be like, not my problem.
Yeah. Well, and that's why in MLMs,
yes.
It's easy for people at the top of the pyramid to say, well, we provided you with training and lead sheets, and you just didn't work hard enough.
Yep, you didn't work the program.
Yeah, when really the problem is that they didn't come in on top.
Right.
That's the only reason they're not successful.
So when systems are the reasons that people can't break through, we still blame the person. And that's so hard.
So I have empathy.
Yeah.
I have empathy for Elizabeth Holmes on that front.
But not really sympathy.
Right. No sympathy.
Yeah.
None at all. She literally put people's lives in danger.
Yeah, that's not okay.
No.
It's not okay. You have to be a better person.
Right.
You just have to be a better person.
Exactly.
Wow.
And her scheduling is scheduled for September of 2022. So they had the verdicts come out in January. She's not being sentenced. She's facing up to 20 years in prison, though they're expecting her to serve quite a bit less than that.
All right. So hold on. So you said her scheduling is scheduled.
Oh,
I know
I'm
you're
sorry.
going to want to fix that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we see Elizabeth getting interviewed for a magazine article. And the interviewer asks, if you are what you eat, what are you? And Elizabeth says, green juice. And I'm like, what is green juice? I got to know what green juice is. Well, in Silicon Valley, they like to do this thing called biohacking.
Okay.
And so we've heard of some of them. They've kind of spilled over into the general consciousness. One that's popular now is intermittent fasting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. one that was popular several years ago, which is actually really great, I hate to admit it, is bulletproof coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Where you put the butter in it and blend it. And it's so good. But it's not like, it's just nice coffee. It doesn't really do anything like spectacular for you. But Elizabeth had already kind of come to the idea that she wanted to be a vegan because she found that it allowed her to work a lot. 16 hours a day. She worked 7 days a week.
How?
Somehow she found that being a vegan allowed her to function at this higher level.
I think that's a lot of placebo effect.
I think it is too, because I'm thinking if she maybe slept more than 4 hours a night, she'd have maybe made better decisions.
Yeah.
Maybe if she'd like taken a vacation once in a while, she'd have made better decisions.
Yeah.
At least in leadership.
Well, at least in leadership. Yeah.
Because she really the company work culture was totally toxic.
Oh, bad.
And if people didn't want to come in on the weekends, she thought there was something wrong with them. Green juice was a blend of spinach, parsley, wheatgrass, celery, and cucumber.
Okay.
Which sounds awful to me.
Yeah, there's some places around here that sell green juice.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of mix of green juice.
Ugh. I mean, you got to have a little something in there to make the flavor more palatable. She found it as a way to simplify her routine.
Right.
She was
I can understand that.
busy. And so just like wearing one color clothes, copying Steve Jobs.
Right.
This was another way to kind of copy Steve Jobs. He often had phases where he only ate fruit. That was just his easy way of making his life simple, and she wanted to make her life simple.
Yeah, and I there is something to that.
There is.
If I wasn't so daggum
vain.
I'm
vain.
Yeah, and creative a little bit. I'm kind of I like a lot of different things. That idea of I really do only have 7 outfits.
Yeah.
It's simple. I wear a uniform every day. I wear the same thing every day. It looks good on me. I feel good about it.
Right.
And I have one for casual. I have one for dressy. And I have one for athletic.
Yeah.
And then you just do your laundry. I mean, the simplicity of that.
It's appealing.
It is very appealing. But what about your favorite concert tee?
Yeah.
Where does this fit in? I mean,
I guess maybe she didn't have a favorite concert tee. She'd not been to concerts, really. No. She hadn't done this young person thing.
No. And I feel like it's so appealing, but what do you do with all those other things you love? Or when you're feeling it differently, or when you need a certain size jeans because it's a certain time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, it must be, I don't know, I feel like we fluctuate too much to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
So maybe 14. Maybe you just double it.
Oh, well.
I don't know. It is appealing to me, I have to tell you.
I can see the appeal of it, but let me tell you, green juice isn't really all that good for you.
Well, I wouldn't choose green juice, but there was a time when the babies were little that I did have that kind of meal routine.
Yeah.
And it was kashi bars.
Okay.
And I had a very simple, I eat the same thing every day.
Okay.
And my boss does too, kind of.
Oh.
Almost.
We eat the same things pretty much every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are on a routine.
We have very much a routine. Every Tuesday we have taco salads. It's just what we do.
Yeah.
And, we'll vary things up a little bit, but there's really, it just simplifies my life.
Right.
To have, these are a few meals and, I know it's Tuesday. This is what I'm making for dinner. Makes it easier to make my grocery list. There's something to be said about that.
There is something to be said about it.
So in the show, right before they finally convince Elizabeth to go to a party and be a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
And so she's awkward and doesn't know how to just talk to other people who aren't also deeply entrenched in science. And so she practices talking to herself in a mirror.
Right.
There's actually much better ways. Media Training Worldwide says this is a terrible way.
Really?
Yes.
Because some research would come against that and say the opposite.
He has
Let me hear it.
So this guy, TJ Walker, who's a media trainer, So he's found it to be much more effective to video yourself.
Okay.
And because when you talk in a mirror, you get distracted. You get distracted with the way you look. You get distracted with what your face is doing. You get distracted with your eyes or your hair. And it's better to video yourself and then watch it back. Mm-hmm. And then you can watch it back more than once and think, okay, no, I wish my face had done this differently. Mm-hmm. I wish, I had said something differently, that you actually end up with better results because you're talking to the camera and not looking at yourself the whole time.
Okay.
So if you go back and watch it, you have a little distance, a little separation, and you're able to do it more effectively because you're not distracted by, oh, my face did that weird thing just then. Mm-hmm. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Instead, you lose your train of thought because you're thinking about what your face is doing.
Yeah, I can see. I feel like he's not wrong.
Right.
But I'm also like, isn't that the point of looking in the mirror, to see what my face is doing?
Well,
like, I guess if I'm practicing the train of thought itself,
right,
maybe that wouldn't be.
Right.
But if I'm in a mirror, it's because I want to see what my face is doing.
Right.
Not because I'm practicing the train of thought.
Right.
But like, as somebody who grew up in dance.
Well, yeah, you look at yourself in the mirror
That's
while you're
how
dancing
you
all
train
the time.
it.
Right.
You do, and it's, you train yourself by doing that.
Yes, you train yourself, but maybe you're critical of the moves that your body is making and not critical of the way your body looks. Like, it's a difference is like, you're not critical of the outfit that you're wearing because you already know what your outfit looks like. Like, somebody who didn't grow up in that kind of culture, you were looking at the form that your body had to make the right move and not picking at your clothing or, oh, look, I have a stain, or you were looking at your form overall instead of, oh gosh, I have this big zit.
So like learning to use the mirror the way he wants you to use a video. But if you're not used to it, it can be really distracting. Okay, I'm tracking.
Okay.
I'm tracking.
All of the sources that we use to inform our discussion here on Killer Fun Podcast can be found on our social media. Join us on Facebook at Killer Fun Podcast, exploring the intersection of crime and entertainment. You can find us on Twitter at Killer Fun Pod, or you can send us an email at killerfunpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to share a link to whatever information you're looking for. We love to hear from you. You might learn a little something too. Last up, our outtakes from The Staircase. We warm up. Of course, there are flubs. There are always some flubs. The number that they gave in the show, in the first episode, it was a real phone number, and we talk about that. And David Rudolph and his relationship with Ray Carruth. Michael used some emphatic language, perhaps to his detriment. We're definitely warm now.
It's totally my fault.
No, it's fine.
I'm a mess today.
No, it's fine. This is,
It's also because I spent a lot of time on the computer this week, so I'm a little I want to talk to people. Let me talk to
That's
Mike.
fine. Yeah. All right. It's the story.
I was amazed how boring I was.
Wow.
Oh, never mind. Let me say that again.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of like what is that movie with the, there are many like it. This one is mine.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
It'll come to me in a second. Okay. If you're listening right now, you're so annoyed because you know what it is. You're screaming it at me.
But the loving cup is, okay. Michael calls to tell Candace, Kathleen's sister, that Kathleen has died.
Right.
And then he loses his nerve and asks for her husband's cell phone number.
Yeah.
And they give a number that's not noticeably fake. So I was like,
I don't remember.
It wasn't like a 555 number.
It wasn't?
No. It was 804-554-3212.
Oh, but 554 is the new Hollywood 554 also.
No, it sure is not, because it's a real phone number.
What?
The Chamber of Commerce has it listed as the waste management phone number for Richmond, Virginia, currently.
What? I thought didn't Hollywood add. They did add
I
a
know
number,
they
though.
they
It's
added
because it
a
got
number.
so bad that
Right.
it was like, okay, we can hardly make movies about this anymore. It's so like
Right.
it cuts the
So that's what I thought. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to find that this is the new, like,
the 554 is the
Right.
new whatever.
no,
What?
it's a real number for
could
waste.
they-
I don't know.
How can they mess that up?
I don't know if they messed it up or not because Candace and Mark lived in Virginia, and I can't figure out if he worked for Waste Management or not.
I mean,
And I'm like, Waste Management, are they giving out a number for this because they're saying that their opinions are trash or something? I don't know. I don't know if he worked there or if it's a commentary or if it's a mistake.
I mean, I feel like where's continuity on set? Come on, pay attention. What did we get this right?
I'm like, maybe they just thought nobody would care and nobody would. But it's a real phone number.
Maybe she said it wrong and they decided not to reshoot it because they thought, oh, it's nobody. It's enough that people won't.
Yeah, except I wrote it down.
Love it. Next time reshoot the scene.
Next time, make sure it's not a real phone number. And I know that it's getting harder and harder, especially with so many cell phones, to have numbers that aren't real. But I would
555 is
we know that that's not
that is set aside.
Yeah.
For this purpose.
And yes, exactly. So that hopefully Waste Management hasn't been getting a bunch of calls.
Well, if they haven't, they're gonna now.
Are we that influential, you think?
Well, I don't know. What can we do? Let's see. Let's see, listeners.
Oh
now,
no!
Don't be wrong.
Don't call Waste
don't
Management.
Be wrong.
Waste their time.
No, I know. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Come on now.
David Rudolph did, in fact, represent an NFL player for shooting his pregnant girlfriend.
Oh wow.
Ray Caruth was a football player, wide receiver. He played college football in Colorado and was drafted in 1997 by the Carolina Panthers. And in 2001, shortly before this, he was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder against his pregnant girlfriend, Sharika Adams. He spent 18 years in prison, and David Rudolph was, in fact, his attorney and is sort of credited for him not spending longer in prison.
I know. Defense attorneys.
I mean, but you need them.
We need them. And I get it. It is, boy.
Yeah.
You want to do a thought exercise about how much you really care about justice?
Yeah.
Pretend you're a defense attorney for somebody you know is guilty of a heinous crime.
Right.
Oh, gosh. That's just hard.
Right. So Michael protested too much his innocence. Now, I don't know if it's because he is a writer that he used emphatic language.
Yeah, you do have to give him that.
So I try and give him the benefit of the doubt. Though Clearsay Communications has an article about why protesting too much weakens your case.
Yeah.
So we've all heard it's a Shakespeare quote, doth protest too much.
Yes.
That far from strengthening an assertion, modifying adverbs like categorically, emphatically, strenuously, even very, weaken the verb that follows it. They smack of bluster and desperation. They suggest that denial is a relative rather than an absolute term. So instead of saying, I absolutely didn't do this, he'd have been better off saying, I did not kill my wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Just
get that.
Simply, it would have felt much more authentic. Adding an emotional dimension to the word that follows, they actually diminish its impact, which I thought was super interesting because he did seem to protest a lot and verbosely.
It is hard because, I mean, of course you're defensive.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're going to be defensive. And so you're going to put these words in front of him, right? And see, lawyers coach people on how to get rid of that.
Yes.
So, on the one hand, we could say it's more authentic, but we also could say all those who say it so simply, whatever, could be very coached.
Right.
So, which is the more authentic? And your defensiveness could be because you're defensive because you did it, or you're defensive because you didn't. So
Right. Fair.
I mean,
but I think the idea that I liked the idea of the subjective did or did not. Adding those extra words makes it sound subjective rather than objective.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I get that. I think in my own life, I definitely pick up on, I think we all pick up on that. When people are defensive, we pick up on that. And our first thought is, if you're being defensive, then we're hitting a nerve. And it's because you're wrong. It's not necessarily true. People get defensive just because they feel attacked.
Right.
Which is annoying, right? You want people to be
Authentic and true.
and just deal with the situation at hand. But
yeah, often they don't want to.
They don't want to.
Humans are bad at dealing with the situation at hand sometimes.
we really are. But that's interesting with the words. But he is a writer, and so
Yeah.
I do think, wow.
He did protest an awful lot. Instead of letting the facts speak for themselves, he felt like he had to give them a little push.
Yeah.
And that's...
Is that the writer in him? Is that the
Is that
guilty
guilt?
man inside of him? I don't know.
So Tech Dirt had an article, studies show blood pattern analysis. Let me start that over. So Tech Dirt has an article titled Study Shows. One book I found, Forensic Neuropathy.
Neuropathy.
Okay. Yeah. I was, would it be neuropathy in this or neuropathy?
Neuropathology.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is it for this Outtakes episode. We hope that you've enjoyed it, and we really appreciate you being patient with us while we take a little summer hiatus. But you know how in the very first section, Jackie talked about how much she liked the Batman? Well, we are going to talk about the Batman next time, so do join us. Until then, be safe, be kind, and wash your hands.
Da, 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 da.